And I knew I was kind of coming in with this like take that on the character that you could, and a performance you could probably see from space.
You know, this is the first time you guys have reunited on film since Devil Wears Prada. So what was it like for both of you coming back together? Stanley, if you want to start.
It was fun. It was really fun. We were just saying in another interview that, it's nice to be with somebody that you know when you're going into a film, because going into a film, it's like, you start a new film and it's like the first day of school all the time, no matter how many films you've done. So to know that you're going to be working with someone that you love, who's so talented, and it helps you relax right away. It was just a fun experience. And as Annie will tell you, not all films are fun.
I won't tell them. I will smile and say lots of vague things.
Yes, right.
Yeah. It was just so wonderful to walk onto set knowing that there was one connection that had been made, a relationship that was over a decade old, and just knowing that, sorry, Stanley, cover your ears again, that I was going to be working with an actor that was Stanley's caliber. So I knew the scenes would have pace and they would be light and fleet and funny. And I just know from experience what a great scene partner he could be, particularly in a setup like this. And so I was just very excited to get to work with him. And I was just really excited to reconnect and find out what was up with your life.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was really, really nice.
Welcome.
What would you do if there were mice running all around this hotel?
I would call the exterminator.
You see, girls? He would exterminate those brats.
Rats. We would exterminate the rats.
And was there one piece of advice that you maybe got on Prada that you've carried forward this far in your career that Stanley gave you at the time that you're still sort of hanging on to or using?
I never gave her any
No.
advice.
Sorry.
I didn't have to give her any advice. She knew exactly what she was doing.
Well, that's a step too far, but because it happens to not be true. I just remember watching you, Meryl, and Emily, and just going, figure out how to be loose like that. Figure out how to be that specific and that funny and that connected and precise, but also completely loose and playful. I mean, the three of you were just on this level. And I just remember thinking, I want to figure out how to get there.
Well, that's very nice. That's very nice. But I have to say, and I said this in interviews when we did that film too, that you had the hardest role in the film because you were completely reactive, and yet you're carrying the film. It's the hardest thing to do, and you did it brilliantly. There aren't many people who could do that.
I'm just going to give myself a hug because that made me feel really good. So I'm just going to sit here in that feeling. Thank you.
Stanley, for you, what has it been like since Anne was so early in her career on Broadway, watching her evolve to now where she's playing such a wacky, amazing character like in The Witches? I mean, to go from something reactive like Andy to now being like a Meryl-like part, Miranda-esque almost here.
I think it's great. It's great to, when you see somebody who's good and they have that kind of range, that's what acting's all about. And to see, to see actors, that I worked with, young people like Annie, that, as they change, as they grow, they just get better and better and better. And it's really exciting, and to see like Emily too, to see Emily when she was so young and now what she, all the different things she's done. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
I just have to geek out about Emily for 1 second. I knew from the second I met her that all this was coming. It was as clear as anything.
Yeah.
And it's just great. And then Meryl finally has blossomed.
I think she's finally coming into her own.
I'm so happy. It's been the promise has been fulfilled.
Mm-hmm. It was touch and go for a while, but I think she got there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feared this was happening. Then here, that means a test is coming.
Ladies, I have a plan. Andro, to transform a child into a mouse.
Nice.
For your first scene in this film, it is just so wild with the Grand High Witch being so dismissive and Stanley's character just trying to do his job as best as he can. For both of you, was that breaking? I mean, I know you're both professionals, but it seems like it would be just a barrel of laughs.
Oh yeah, we laughed. Yeah. No, there's no question. In every scene we laughed. I think particularly in the Gorlick scene, we laughed.
You loved that word.
I could literally have shot the scene all day. But this is why Bob Zemeckis is a much better director than I, because I would have made that scene like 20 minutes long. Just doing the same, where you just keep saying the word and you just keep saying it. But yeah, you couldn't help but laugh.
I was really happy. You gave me a gift. I'm not even sure if you knew it, because that wasn't the first scene that I shot in the film. And I knew I was kind of coming in with this like take that on the character that you could, and a performance you could probably see from space. It was so big. And so I was just trying, I was like, okay, like I hope I'm going to land this. And I said one of my first lines in the rehearsal and Stanley just giggled. And Stanley loves to laugh, but on set, he doesn't laugh unless something's genuinely funny. So it just like, I can't explain it, Stanley. It just like lifted me up and made me feel like I had just literally was levitating. I was so happy. That laugh meant so much to me.
No, because that is the thing that you want, because it is scary if you think, okay, I'm going to try this. And it's a big choice.
And I didn't have a plan B, man.
And there's no plan B. It better work. Otherwise, it's like, but it worked. I thought it worked great.
And then lastly, both of you, when you're working on a project like this, that is, from the get-go, a family film, and you're going to have kids watching, does that change your approach at all in acting? Like, are you pivoting towards anything in your performance or tweaking things to adjust for that, or not really?
Yeah, I do, simply because I know what these types of movies meant to me when I was a kid, and how they stayed with me, and how they informed my worldview in a lot of ways, and how they helped me define myself. And so because of that, I feel that it's really, really important to make sure that everything you're putting in front of them is as close to gold as you can get it. You just want to give them all the pure stuff. You want to make it as great as possible. You don't want to take any reckless risks with their time and their hearts and their brains. In this case, when Bob showed me what he was going to do to my face with a smile, I just went, oh, okay, that's so scary that if I make the rest of the performance scary on top of that, it actually will stop being enjoyable for kids. They'll just be terrified, and every parent across the world will hate me because they'll have a screaming child every night for months, like having nightmares. So that was when I decided to lean into trying to make her funny. And because I wanted, and then I really wanted in these particular moments when, I think about it a lot. My kids are still very young, but I think about it for older kids in particular. The world's so traumatic. You think about what a child who just randomly might see the news would see these days. It's so much to process and take in and make sense of. So it then became really important to me that kids know that laughing at evil is an option too. You can stand up to it, but you can also laugh at that bully. You can laugh in their face, because if they're anything like the Grand High Witch, they're utterly ridiculous, and their hate will only shrink them down. So I felt really cool to have that opportunity to be part of that message.
Grandma, it's me.
Is that you, boy? We'll never let you get away with your filthy, evil plot.
Who's gonna stop me?
Doesn't matter who you are or what you look like, so long as somebody loves you.
You wouldn't happen to be carrying around a mouse on your person, now would you?
Yeah, I don't, to me, yeah, I agree with Annie. I mean, you can only, there are parameters without question. And the thing is, if you have a good director like Bob, he'll tell you where if you're going too far or not far enough or whatever, or to maybe tone things down or something. And it's very interesting because the Roald Dahl stuff is really dark. And like Annie said, like the choice that she made to make the woman funny, but she's really also terrifying. That's really important. because that makes you really want to watch, particularly as a kid. I think you really want to watch them. But I think that all of that, though, that complexity is inherent in all of Roald Dahl's writing. And it's a very fine line and has to be handled very carefully as he did in those books, which is, some of them are really scary and disturbing. And yet they're incredibly touching, really funny, really weird, weirdly real. It's a very complex line to walk.